because funny enough, actually, Walking Dead was probably going to be one of my last auditions when I was younger.
Oh,
so,
wow.
yeah, because it was taking time off work to take me to auditions and everything.
Do you feel like you're desensitized from like horror films or movies and stuff?
I have a greater appreciation for it.
What was kind of your first thought when we kind of offered you the role?
Very rare that you get an email with offer Peter Parker. You know what I mean? It's like, what?
CinePacks.
What is up, and welcome to the CinePacks podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Casey. With me, I have my co-host and co-owner of CinePacks, Andy Chin. Today, we have a very special guest today, Chandler Riggs. You may know him from his breakout role as Carl Grimes on The Walking Dead. Since then, Chandler has expanded his career into film, television, music, and even video games. Thanks for coming on today.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thanks, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, how have you been?
Good, dude. Yeah. It's I feel like I've over the last, however long, I just constantly doing things. It sucks because I don't like to be bored, but then I just like drown myself. I'm sure you guys probably the same way. Just drown yourself in more more work. Yeah.
I just recently saw that you were, I guess like a couple of years ago you started doing music stuff, which I didn't know that. I actually talked about anything like that. Is that something you're still kind of doing right now or not?
Yeah. Well, so I started producing music when I was about 16. It was actually I had a bunch of friends that were in music production at the time, and I'm a big EDM guy, like love going to shows and everything. I would like sneak into all the 18 plus shows when I was younger, and like I just loved being there in the action. And just naturally just got into producing music from there, and had made an EP for like my senior project at school because I wanted to make music anyways, and I was like, well, might as well use this for my senior project, which worked out really great. And and then it released some music here and there. I actually got to tour a bit, doing like DJ sets around the country. Really, tour with a couple of people that I was huge fans of myself. So it was really, really awesome. I still produce music today. I just haven't released as much stuff. I've got like at least like 2 albums worth of stuff in the backlog that will probably see the light of day at some point. But yeah, I love it. I've always loved music, and producing, DJing, everything. It's awesome.
How come you haven't been playing any shows or anything recently?
No, yeah, promoters like to book artists that actually release music, so
okay.
yeah, so but it's okay. I've got other projects that are kind of taking the stage right now, so it works out. Yeah.
What are some of your like influences and stuff, and like inspirations and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, dude, I feel like DJ wise, like Skrillex is
okay.
Dude, he's like godly good. Like he's just insane at how good that guy is at mixing. But I think producing and songwriting, it's like Porter Robinson and Flume and a bunch of those guys. But I'm really big into like the underground EDM scene here in LA, especially. Like there's so many awesome underground artists. Like I use SoundCloud, and like that's like my
okay.
yeah, and I just love like going to those like 50-person shows that are packed in like a tiny like basement, and that's the kind of thing that
how do you find out about these shows?
I run in like a few circles that like put on a lot of those shows. One of my friends, he's a streamer that he started a record label, and he gets a bunch of these underground artists to release music on his record label, and I follow a bunch of there's a group called Brownies and Lemonade that I follow all their stuff too. Yeah, they're awesome. So I love to go to all that stuff. It's a blast.
I saw they did like one where they did it at the abandoned zoo in Griffith Park.
Yes, yeah,
that looks so fun.
Oh,
like in like a lion's den kind of
awesome.
Like that's crazy.
Yeah, they do the coolest thing. They did their second year of a mini music festival on a battleship up in San Francisco. Yeah,
that's crazy.
They do just awesome stuff. So yeah, it's very fun.
If you weren't doing like entertainment, like acting and stuff like that, do you think music or where would you see your kind of career?
Honestly, like I don't know. I think about it sometimes that like if I didn't end up landing Walking Dead, or if I had kind of went in a different went in a different direction. Well, it's funny enough, actually, Walking Dead was probably going to be one of my last auditions when I was younger because, because it was just like my parents had to keep taking time off work. They're both teachers, taking time off work to take me to auditions and everything, and it was not great. So I wonder, if I hadn't booked that show, then like I don't know. I was going to go to college for sociology, which is kind of a somewhat useless degree.
Wait, why did you choose that?
I just love learning about why we act the way we act and why we do things the way we do them. I've always been fascinated with psychology and sociology, but I don't know if I would have gone that route had I not been grown up around actors and acting. You know what I mean? Because that's a big part of acting is the psychology of like getting behind your character and everything. So I really don't know. I think for a while I thought it'd be cool to both my parents were teachers, to be a teacher, in some capacity. But I honestly I really don't know. I don't think I would have ended up doing music. I don't know what I would have ended up doing, to be honest. Yeah.
Let's go back. I mean, you mentioned your parents are like so Walking Dead was your very like close to the end of the audition. I mean,
you said it was like your last audition you were probably doing, right? Like, what was that like getting that role? Like, when was it your parents kind of like, all right, like,
yeah, were they like
getting kind of tired of it,
like,
or
do this, or
I mean, I didn't know it. I didn't know that at the time that they were like, getting
kind of burned out.
Great. Yeah. But I mean, it's. I mean, luckily they never like pushed it onto me. Like my parents were always just like, when it stops being fun, like you don't have to do it at all. Like it's totally up to you. Even when I was, how many seasons into the show, they were always like, you can quit whenever. There was one time that I almost did too, but
can you speak on that reason? Like if there was a reason why you were kind of just feeling.
Yeah, honestly, it's so I mean, I was 11 years old or 12 years old, so it was very childish, but they had there was a handful of times throughout the second season of Walking Dead where they'd have an awesome scene for me in the script. Like there was a scene in at the start of one of the episodes when they're still trying to find Sophia in the second season, and he sneaks into into the RV and grabs his dad's walkie-talkie that he used to talk to Morgan every time, and he took the walkie-talkie, went out to the field, and talked to Sophia. Like, just like, hey, we're looking for you, we're gonna find you, and all that stuff. And then they cut it, and I was like, dude, this was so cool. And they replaced it with the scene that I thought was super lame. and then there were a few more instances where like they would put in something awesome that I was super stoked for, and I would work on too. Like I would work with like an acting coach on the scenes, and I'd like rehearse them and everything, and like get ready to go, and then they would just cut them. And so eventually I was like, man, this sucks. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to keep getting all my stuff cut. And my dad we were on set, and my dad was like, we'll hop in the car. Like, we'll just go if you really want to go. And I'm like, I kind of want to. And then the showrunner had called my dad, and he was like, well, guys, listen, there's cool stuff coming up. I promise. Just bear with me.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I think you got some pretty legendary scenes in, so I think.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It was very childish.
No, I can imagine how frustrating, especially as a kid, because like it's the amount of work you're probably putting in is, especially just as a kid, not knowing, and then. Yeah.
I mean, even as an adult, I feel like
that
would be pretty
sucks.
heartbreaking. Like you spend all this time like working on a scene, and then they just cut it out. I mean, I feel like that's probably like a common thing in a lot, especially on shows. Like, they're probably shooting so much because the timeline's like so crazy, right?
8 days an episode, which means they have 8 days for pre-production, and 8 days to write the episode. It's the time, the windows of time for TV is so short that like revisions come out like nothing. Gosh, the amount of revisions for some episodes, especially like towards the end of the season, where like they're really under the gun to get it cranked out within like a few weeks of time, from like nothing to like production script, is like, it's insane. So we'll get into the, we'll go through all the colors, and we'll get into like the double whites, the double yellow, the double pink scripts, and it's like, it's insane amount of revisions.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What was it like? I mean, just I feel like at a certain point, like it was the biggest TV show, especially like in those later seasons? Because like the first season, I just feel like it was like all over AMC. It was like everywhere. Like, what was that like? Just like coming up and like almost growing with the show in a sense, you know? Because I feel like up until like your character's arc, like I feel like that was when the show was at its all-time high. So like, what was that kind of like?
Well, you know, I was fortunate enough to be a local hire on the show, so I didn't have to move. You know, we shot in Georgia. I grew up in Georgia. Didn't have to move. Got to stay in school. Got to keep all my same friends. So, I mean, really, like, growing up doing the show, like, I would, you know, be in school, you know, for however many days in the week, and then I'd miss a couple days and go down and film, and then I'd come back to school and, you know, be making up all my work, and that's just kind of how I did things for and then go to conventions on the weekends. But yeah, I mean, it's it's one of those things where it's hard to like compare it to anything else because like that's all I knew was just like going and working and then going to school and kind of just, I mean, it was just, to me, it just felt like any just normal job of just like, all right, got my scene, I'm gonna go to work and then I can come back.
But you were probably the only kid working.
yeah, like in that capacity. Yeah.
Kids don't work.
Yeah. Were you the coolest kid in the whole school?
No, not remotely.
Were any of the kids watching that show at the time? Yeah. So I mean,
you don't have like kids coming up for autographs or anything.
Well, it was one of those things where like, fortunately because I didn't have to move, a lot of the kids in my class, I was always the kid going and doing auditions. I was always like on whatever theater show like in Atlanta. So it wasn't like I, you know, all of a sudden just overnight was like huge, you know.
Yeah, they saw the growth.
Yeah, and also like Walking Dead when it started, like not no one, but like it was not a big show at the start, and it gradually like kind of gained traction. So no one really cared as much. But
I forget when it came on Netflix, but I feel like that is when like also like it kind of like popped off a little bit too. I feel like it was like early Netflix a little bit, so I feel like those first 2 to 3 seasons were on Netflix, I feel like, and that's when it kind of started.
Yeah, and I think like when you know, especially towards like the later seasons when it was really big and like more people just wanted to just binge and catch up. Yeah, absolutely. Like I think probably like 2016 to 18, I would say, is like really when the surge of people were like really into it. But yeah, not popular. I ate lunch alone in my car. Like, is that that kind of thing?
It's even crazy now. I feel like these shows just have like surges now. Like even like with like TikTok, like people just like clipping. Like I'm sure there's thousands of pages of just like people just clipping the Walking Dead clips, and then like it just puts like even just the younger generation onto these shows.
Yeah. I mean, look at shows like The Office.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That have sustained for so long, you know, after it's over, because thanks to, you know, to Netflix and to TikTok and to all these, you know, platforms.
And I don't know if you could speak on this, but is there any type of residual or anything like that keeps you know, income coming from these streaming services? Because I know that's just like a big thing with actors right now. And is there anything that has kind of come about that? Or
nothing from streaming. That was one of the reasons for the SAG strike. Was to try to, you know, figure out, and for the writers as well, to try to figure out some way to you know, because you're right, like that is a huge portion of the crowd watched the whole thing on Netflix, or watch, you know, they're not watching it, you know, turning on their DirecTV to like go to AMC and watch the reruns, you know, what they can catch them. It's like they're just watching it on Netflix. So that's one of the reasons why we were on strike, was to figure out some sort of residuals for streaming. And but we do get I do still get residuals for reruns on AMC. It's like dwindling, you know, it's like less and less each time, so I'll get a check for like 7 cents. You know?
Sick.
But that is, it's one of the things that's still trying to get sorted out.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I wonder, so they take it off of Netflix, then you'd probably get more money off it if people have to only watch it on AMC or whatever.
Yeah, I mean maybe, but I mean I don't think it's worth. It's just I think like I'm just happy that people watch it. And just happy that people like the show and can see readily. My work is readily available. They can just like, you know, with one search it pops up. So
You mentioned earlier you were a local hire. Were there other local hires, or were you the only one that's kind of in the main?
Yeah, there were
group?
other local hires. The guy that played T-Dog, he was a local hire.
Okay.
Yeah. The woman that plays Carol, she was also a local hire, and she was actually a casting director before she before she started on Walking Dead, and then she just full-time kind of acting. But I had done auditions with her many times before
As a casting director. Okay.
when she was casting for things. I had auditioned many times and gone and read with her. And it was funny when she showed up on set. I was like, Melissa, what are you doing here? Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
As a kid, just seeing like all these like zombies and like a lot of this gore, was any of it like a little extreme for you at the time, or were you pretty?
Nah, dude, it's sick. It was so sick. No, I mean, it's not. It's like, when you're doing scenes, it's none of it is. You rehearse it again and again, and you talk to the person that you're in the scene with, and it's like just like Halloween. It's like, I mean, you guys know how it is on sets. It's like, they're just in the makeup and. They're going over to Crafty, or like, they'll go out and smoke a cigarette. It's that kind of thing. They got their jaw hanging out, Yeah.
Do you feel like you're desensitized from like horror films or movies and stuff? Just like being around like so much gore and like prosthetics and special effects stuff?
I don't think so. I mean, I think I have a greater appreciation for it, for sure. Like, just having firsthand knowledge of the amount of time and effort it takes to put together just a basic hero zombie, I think like gives me a great like sense of appreciation for all like prosthetics and special effects.
Yeah, they're in the chair for like 6 hours.
Yes.
Like sometimes.
Yes. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It's wild. I actually there was one year where we were filming on Halloween, and all the cast or all the crew, they like dress up in costumes, everything. It's always a blast. But I had wrapped early, and I wanted to go trick-or-treating, but I didn't have a costume. And so I just walked into the special effects store. I was like, hey, guys, can you guys put some zombie makeup on me?
Sick.
Like, so no prosthetics or anything, but they did like a full, like, makeup thing on my face and everything. It looked fantastic, obviously.
Yeah.
It looked really good. So it's, very talented people.
Yeah, sick.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, we appreciate you listening to the CinePacks podcast. We actually don't have any sponsors for this podcast. It's all self-funded. So if you want to support us, head on over to our website, buy some digital assets or a lens filter. We'd really appreciate it. Enjoy the podcast.
No, you're good.
I think so. Tyler had this
Oh yeah, I got this. Yeah.
blind rank 5 zombie apocalypse
Yeah.
weapons.
Yeah.
Do you know the? Yeah. Do
you
you
know
the
like
thing?
blind ranking? So basically,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna give you like 5 random things, but like in a random order.
Great.
So you just need to rank. 1 is gonna be the best, like the most useful, like what you think is the best. 5 is like least useful, and then I'm just gonna say them, and then you have to put it 1 through 5.
Love it.
But
Without knowing
random
what's
order.
coming
Yeah.
next.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me,
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna have you blind rank these 5 zombie apocalypse weapons.
Great.
So first weapon, crossbow. So you got to rank that 1
Yeah.
through 5. where you
I'd give
put it.
that like a
And you can't change the order.
yeah.
That's the difficulty of
Yeah,
this.
I'd go kind of in the middle here, like on a 3, because it's
Okay.
like it's one of those things where it's like it's quiet, it's great,
Mm.
single shot. It's
Yeah.
like, and cross. I don't know if you guys have ever like shot a crossbow before. Pulling back the
Oh, it's
damn
hard, yeah.
thing, it is
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
It
So
is
the reloading
yeah.
is gonna be so
Yes.
slow.
Yeah. If you got like
Yeah.
more than one that you're going up against, it's like not going to be.
That was like Daryl's like signature weapon, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then it's not. I mean, you could. But then you can. It's almost like unlimited ammo in some
that is
sort, because
true.
you can always pull it
Yes.
out of the dude and reload.
But do those
Yeah.
like arrows eventually dull down? Like how many
Yeah.
shots do you
Probably-
think
probably
you
gotta,
get?
Like, yeah, like keep
If
it
you miss a
sharpened
couple
and-
times, you hit a couple trees, then it's probably gonna be not
Yeah.
very
True.
useful.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. So that's at, you said 3?
Yeah, you know what? The more we talk about it, I'm gonna drop it down. I'm getting
Oh,
nervous.
yeah.
Right? Can I change my answer now?
You can
Yeah,
say
you can
it
change
I'll
it,
do
yeah.
4. I'll do 4.
4. All
Yeah.
right. All right.
I'm probably putting it at a 5
Yeah.
for myself.
All right. Next, we got a knife.
A knife. I think that's. I put it a bit higher. I put that at like a 2 or 3, because that's like, if you get some good distance on like a good group, like you can manage with a knife, and it's like multi-purpose as hell. Like in a
Yeah.
just
True.
in a
That's
zombie
true.
apocalypse.
Actually,
So you're going
like,
2 or 3. Gotta lock in here.
I know. I'm
It is
kinda
very
nervous.
useful because you could like use it to like like catch fish or I don't know, like,
that's
cut
good.
berries.
I'm gonna
not
do it
sure,
too.
Whatever.
I'm gonna do it too.
Okay.
'Cause
The
that's
only
pretty,
thing that
pretty
scares
good.
me about a knife is like if you close quarters with the zombie.
Yeah, you're like.
But
yeah.
I guess that's really good too.
if it
If you
gets
do
knocked
get
out of your hand,
like,
you're fucked.
I feel like that was like every scene in The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
There's
you
always
get-
a zombie and they're just
Yeah.
like last second.
Well, you can
So-
also use it to carve more crossbow arrows.
Oh,
That's true.
Some-
That's very
Having both of
damn.
those.
Okay. We
Yeah.
got barbed baseball bat.
Wait, did we just say that was 2 or 3? I forgot.
He said 2.
I
Okay,
said 2
two.
for that.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So we got crossbow at 4. We got knife at 2. Barbed wire baseball bat.
I mean, I'm gonna put that at a 5 because it's like it's like it's not very practical. It's just just spiky bat. Like you guys still
it's more
gotta,
for
like,
intimidation.
It is, yeah. Like it'll mess up a human for sure. Like,
Yeah.
it'll be really
Yeah.
painful to hit it. To get hit with that thing as
Yeah.
a human. But like, I mean, a zombie did. Dude,
It's
they're not
probably
gonna,
it's
like,
probably not gonna kill a zombie.
Yeah.
It's gonna take out a Glenn.
Unless you have
Yeah.
unless you have really good swing,
Yeah.
knock a couple heads off.
Yeah.
All right. So what you put that at 5?
That's a
Gotcha.
5, yeah.
All right, we got pistol with a suppressor.
Oh, I mean, well, it's tough because it's great. You got
Mhm.
ammo to manage.
Yeah.
Ammo it's a very scarce resource in general. So, oh man, it's either 1 or 3 here. That's my only
Yeah.
options. Oh man.
Yeah, then automatically where
I
this next
know
one
the
goes.
last one is like, oh man. All right, you know what? I'm gonna put it at 1 because that's my character used a pistol with a suppressor
Nice.
for a while on the show, and I thought it was so cool.
Is a pistol whip like effective with the zombie or not really?
I mean, not really. I mean, you really got to hit him hard,
Yeah.
like, to
Gotcha.
do any serious damage.
All right, and then the last weapon was a samurai sword.
Yeah. I probably
That's
would have
a-
put that at 1, but
Really?
that's all right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all right.
I feel like
That's
Michonne, she definitely took out like a lot of zombies with
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
What character had the most kills in the show? Is that a known fact or?
all right. I don't know off the top of my head. I'm sure.
I'm sure there's fans that
100
have-
yeah,
have,
there's definitely
figured
like
that
a-
out.
a
Do you know how
Wiki
many
page out
zombies
there.
you killed?
I didn't kill that many, to be honest. I didn't even have my first melee until season 5.
Wow.
Yeah. It was all just like with a pistol the whole time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I remember we were at Father Gabriel's church and they had me go up and like stab a zombie, and I remember being so stoked because I was like, this is my first time doing a melee kill. Like this is
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What was your favorite season?
Season 4. Yeah.
Why is that?
Yeah, it was honestly, it was just such a cool they just gave such an awesome arc for my character and so many other characters too, and like they did it in such a concise amount of time. It didn't feel like there were any like filler, it was all just like really great story, and some of our best episodes were in there. We have the Grove episode, the don't look at the flowers, that episode is so good. And there's my infamous pudding episode is in there, which was that whole episode was a blast. My audition scene was in that episode. Like it was so cool. And the whole first half of the season 2 was amazing. We had all the stuff, the governor coming back and everything. It was a good season.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sick. Yeah. I guess that's one thing we kind of want to talk about was like the memes. We're asking if you're aware of them because like I feel like even still to this day, like you still see like Walking Dead memes, like with like Rick saying Carl,
Yes.
How did that affect you? I guess like because
especially at school.
yeah. I feel like
It got old real quick.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean it was I mean honestly though, like the first few times that like I remember sitting on the bus, I was in like 8th grade I think, sitting on the bus going to school, and I was scrolling on iFunny. I don't know if you guys remember iFunny.
Is that like that meme? Like,
it was a meme app. Yeah.
Yeah.
and I remember I was scrolling, and then I see one of those memes where he's Rick is on his knees and crying and everything.
Yeah.
And I thought it was the coolest thing ever that like I was on iFunny.
Yeah.
I was like, guys, showing all my like everyone around me. It was just Yeah, so very, very cool. But yeah, then I got old very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Getting yelled at me like in the hallway and stuff as I'm walking to classes, and it's like, good, cool. I'm like, yeah, good one. Put in my headphones.
Damn. Yeah. We have the infamous video, the lyric video, the what is it? Bad lip reading.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you were saying
Carl
people.
Papa.
Carl
Here
Papa.
we go.
Can you recite this whole song?
I honestly,
Yeah.
I probably could. Well, the lyrics are up here, so that helps.
Yeah. If you want to sing along.
It's very, very tempting.
You should sing along without any music and see.
Right? Yeah. Honestly, though, I mean, this it's so. Oh, this is the episode that I was talking about, the pudding episode.
Oh, okay, so yeah.
But yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, I feel like this was like one of like the bad lip readings that just went like crazy viral, and
Yeah.
I feel like that's pretty sick for you too, though. Like, I mean, did you feel like positive from this at a certain point, because it probably helped like just blow up like your personal brand and your character way more,
for sure.
you know?
Dude, it was the cool. Yeah, I mean, having people like take the take the show and spin it in their own way into like something like this. Coolest thing ever. I remember when this came out, I was like, when honestly, even when the first, when the first bad lip reading came out, I was showing everyone on the crew, like, just because it was just so funny. But yeah, I love it. It's great.
Sick.
But you said people come up to you at the conventions and they sing it to you?
Yeah. Or they'll want me to sign it as Carl Papa, or put
really?
like Let Jiggy Jar Jar do. Hey, look at that. Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny. I feel like half of the or like a good portion of the comments on the Spider, like YouTube, just is all about Carl Papa as Peter or whatever, and like
yeah. I'll get some people that there's some people that think that I sung this. As well.
And that's the thing. I feel like they did a decent enough job where it sounded like you.
Yeah.
Where like I feel like that was like one of the things that just made it go crazy viral.
Yeah.
It's just so catchy too.
Yeah.
It's like with the zombies
really
sing in
is.
unison, like it's so good.
Yeah.
Sick.
It's awesome.
But yeah, I guess we could talk a little bit about the spider now. We didn't even like put that in the intro at all, but like,
yeah. I mean, I feel like people who are watching probably know about it, but I was surprisingly, I've been meeting more people that haven't seen it. So, so Spider we worked on, it was a Spider-Man fan film, like
filmed
a horror,
right here,
filmed all here at CinePacks Studios. What was kind of your, like, so my friend Arden, who's the producer on it, has the same manager, was it, as you?
Same
agent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had him reach out and sent you an email and stuff like that. What was kind of your first thought when we kind of offered you the role?
It's very rare that you get an email with like, offer Peter Parker. You know what I mean? It's like, what? But honestly, like I thought it was just such an awesome and cool and fun concept, and I was like, well, it's like 2 days of work. I've got nothing going on like for a few weeks, and I had watched your Fiona horror short, and it was like, I was like, okay, these guys know what they're doing. Like they are, and it looks like they're having a blast too, because that's a huge part of any set is the people that you work with, and that was the first thing that I was like, okay, these guys they're huge fans of the medium and want to just like make something cool. So that's immediately I was like, I'm in, I'm on board.
Sick.
Yeah.
Did you? I didn't realize it until the first day on set. You told me that you actually applied for the Tom Holland one, or like you were auditioning for that, right?
I did audition for that Spider-Man. I totally blew the audition too.
Why? What happened?
Dude, I was so nervous. I flew out to LA just because I'd gotten the audition, and I was so nervous. Yeah, I'd flown all the way to LA just for the audition, and I got in there and I was so nervous, and I just blew it. I walked out of there and I was like, I have no chance.
Oh, really?
Oh, man.
I know.
Yeah.
What was it? What was it about the audition that made you feel like you didn't get it?
Ah, man. I mean, just like, honestly, I just thinking back to it, it was just such a blur of just like, just because I just like was so wound up and just like, this is such an insane opportunity. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's
Was
just
this too much
so
pressure
crazy.
for you?
Yeah. It's just like, you know, I honestly like, and being on Walking Dead, I didn't audition for that much stuff outside of the show because I couldn't do it anyways. So, and I was doing school the whole rest of the time, and I didn't want to like, you know, go and do a movie for like 3 months, you know, after filming the show. Like, I just wanted to stay in school, be with my friends, you know. So, I didn't have a ton of experience just auditioning and like
really?
getting past my nerve, like as of the last like few years at that point. And so I wasn't used to just like getting over my nerves or anything. I was just used to just like rolling up to set and just doing the scenes, you know, versus like auditioning for things. So, but I totally blew it. And Tom Holland is like fantastic for like this version of Peter that they have. So, it's, it was definitely, I blew it. Close and shut case. But yeah, I was in a lot of like fan castings for it.
Yeah,
Like
I saw that
people,
after.
Yeah, like a lot of people were just fan castings and whatnot. You know,
And I feel like that added to kind of the success of the film as well, because so many people wanted you to be Peter Parker already, and then when they saw that, I feel like a ton of the comments are. It's funny because there's so many comments in the video that say like, "Oh, it's better than Tom Holland." Like they're super stoked on this version. There's so many people that want to see you as the official Peter Parker or something like that too.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty cool.
No, it's really sick. Yeah, and I'm honestly, I mean, I think like there's so many cool avenues that of Spider-Man that like haven't really been, you know, explored. I mean, and you see it in the animated ones and the Spider-Verse movies that are like so good. Like, oh man, I just love those films. But I think it's just like very, after watching those, it's like very clear that there is so much to like these worlds that we haven't really seen on the big screen yet.
Yeah, for sure. Especially with all the multiverse like versions.
Exactly.
Which one's your favorite out of all the Spider-Mans?
Oh man,
That's crazy.
Is it crazy? Well, maybe top. I don't know, because there's also like there's the animated ones. I thought those are amazing. I guess they really are. That's probably hard to choose.
Yeah, man. I mean, Toby is always like, he's always gonna have my heart.
Yeah.
Man. We share the same birthday too. That's just so cool. Yeah. But Tobey Maguire, he's the best. But I mean, like, I think just in terms of like just like nostalgia factor aside, just like quality of movies, I gotta go with the Spider-Verse movies, man. Like the Across the Spider-Verse, the second one, it's just so
that one killed me being
so much.
Part one. The second one, I was in the theater. I was so pissed. I know.
I had no idea I was gonna end it like that.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was dirty.
Yeah.
But I think we have some clips from the Spider, right, Josh? Yeah, I think we could react to some of those and just kind of talk through some of the scenes that were shot here.
Yeah, this one was the intro of it, but I think we shot this the second day or the first day. I think
it was the second day, because
right?
it was the day that we had like 6 different locations.
Yeah, that was like crazy
in a day. Yeah. I just couldn't believe how fast like you guys. I can't remember when we did this one on the second day, but I remember just like coming back out from wherever I was and just there it was like we were in a laboratory now.
I was pretty stressed out for this scene though. I bet. I think we had a lot of locations and I think we were running pretty behind. So I think at a certain point I was just moving the camera myself. I was like, dude, we just gotta go.
Yeah.
But Alan, our production designer, did a great job, especially with that wide shot, like just adding that depth. Like we built a whole wall with a window, and then
I think the combination of like practical elements of the just all this like not sci-fi but like laboratory stuff in the front with the window, but then the actual LED wall behind it, I feel like adds so much and really sells the scene.
It definitely does. I mean, you got the scientists in the background working there, and like in front of the screen like really helps sells it. But I mean, this is such like it is an easy thing to get wrong here. Like there's you pack. It is like a 10-second window of time that you have to pack all of this in and immediately understand, like, you know, for people who maybe aren't familiar with Spider-Man, you have to immediately get, okay, who this guy is, like what he's about, and like bitten by spider and going through whatever, like thing, the crazy thing he's about to go through. So it's a thing that could have easily gone very wrong. But
was this your first time on like a virtual production set, like with an LED wall?
It was.
Yeah. What was that like?
Dude, I mean, it's just so cool. I have my roommate. He was in the Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, and so he had worked on like
the big ass ones.
Yeah, the big ones. And I remember just talking to him all the time about how awesome they were, and we would mess around with just like, you know, my because I have a whole like VR setup with like full body tracking and everything. So we had tested out some stuff with my trackers and just like a green screen, and just to like try to see if we could ever do something akin to that. And it's so cool and so in depth, and it's like it put me down like a 3-week rabbit hole of like, you know, of like just learning everything about all this stuff. So a huge fan of virtual production. I think it's really cool. I don't think it should ever be a full replacement for like on location stuff, but it, like for things like this, like it is perfect. Like, you know, it's really amazing. But yeah, there's a fine line to use with it, or to use it though, which I think, you know, you guys have found.
I feel like especially like with you with like such a contrast, because like you were always on set with The Walking Dead, right? Like pretty much everything was practical sets, right?
Yeah.
So if you were filming The Walking Dead now, like do you feel like were there ways that virtual production maybe would have been more implemented? Do you think they would have used it at all, or? I
don't think so. I mean, there's so much that you get with being, especially like when you're in the woods and like being on location in the woods, like you really like there's just a certain like level of commitment that you get there from the cast and the crew that for, you know, especially when you're on like a really long series, that I don't know if you'll get that out of being on a soundstage. You know what I mean? It might just be more just like people phoning it in. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. Just all across the board, cast and crew. So, but when on location in the woods, like everyone has committed 12 to 14 hours, you know, to being out in the elements. You're all picking ticks off of you, and it's like, you know, it's like you're on like the martini shot. You still want to kill it, and like because you don't want it to just be the whole day to just be a waste. You know what I mean? And so it's I think there's definitely there's advantages to both, and I think like there's ways to use both without without like compromising on either one.
I mean, I think the biggest benefit is like you're saying, it makes sense for this project because we had so many locations. Also, like it takes place in New York, we're in LA, you know, so we can't really. I think it's like, I mean, for The Walking Dead, like you guys are in Atlanta, like in the woods, in these like big, vast kind of fields, like areas with like buildings and stuff like that, prisons and stuff. Like these are all like real locations that you guys have access to, as opposed to like Star Wars, like they have to build those sets or they put it on the wall. So like you can't really, like when people come here and they're like, hey, I want to do a LA sidewalk. We're like, why don't you just do that outside?
Right there.
Like, you guys are spending so much more time trying to make it look realistic first on the LED wall before you can even like start finessing the lighting to make it look good. So there's like so much more time that goes into it.
Reminds me of that scene from The Disaster Artist.
Oh yeah, they shot the green screen.
Yeah, and they're like, "Why don't we just
do it?" Yeah,
movie.
And there's always, I feel like it takes so much time to kind of get. There's like an uncanny kind of like realism that you have to kind of get past, like this. So yeah, you end up spending more time trying to just make it look real before anything. So I definitely wouldn't recommend it for every case. But for like commercials or stuff where you have to run through a ton of locations or locations you don't have access to,
and times that when you don't see it for very long,
like couple shots,
like it's like when it's like so fast and so quick, it's like you really don't need like to an insane art like design like behind everything that's only going to be seen for moments. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you mix some practical like we did in like with the in the apartment, in the bathroom, and in the living room and everything. Like mix and match a bit, and that's what you guys found.
Yeah.
Really worthwhile.
Yeah,
We have
yeah.
another scene, Josh.
This is actually the first thing we shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. That took a little bit.
Yeah, that effect looked like it works really well too. I mean, like it's staying really tight on him is for sure the move to like get around him getting hit by a car.
Yeah,
you know? Yeah, you got to just stay in there and just with the light and.
Yeah, that was a thing because when I was writing the script, I had all these ideas of like wire rigs and like kind of throwing you around and like all these different things. But yeah, I think it was like we couldn't afford. I think it was a SAG contract thing. We couldn't really do like real stunts.
Yep.
So we figured out a creative way to make it work without seeing the actual accident.
Yeah, it definitely helps. And I mean, I think like it's with Peter too. I mean, like because we're staying so close to his perspective and what he sees, it's likely going to be just like, I mean, you get hit by a car, like it's like just like, if you're in your own world, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like it just happens, and it's like you're on the ground and you're like, what the hell, So I think it works out pretty well. And then we got this. Oh man, that was so sick.
It's funny because I feel like a lot of people don't realize what's happening there. I've seen comments where there's like, oh, he's like sending out slime out of his hands or something like that.
Oh man, yeah, it looks like blood to me.
Yeah.
That was a fun one though. Just getting all
the
goop
sticky stuff
painted on my hand. Yeah. That was really sick. That was a fun one.
And what is happening there?
I mean, so
I
the
know what's
idea
happening,
was
but-
he's supposed to his hand's sticky, so he's supposed to rip the guy's skin off.
Like
but-
his super, because
Yeah.
like
His
whereas
hand's
like
too
in the
sticky.
classic Spider-Man movies, he's like, oh, my sock stuck to my hand or whatever, or like
Yeah.
I'm stuck to the wall. But like this, I mean, which we see,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
then in this, like he's ripping the skin off of the top of
Yeah.
someone's hand.
yeah.
Hey, real quick. Didn't know if you knew this, but CinePacks actually has 3 studio locations in Los Angeles. If you're a filmmaker, photographer, and you're looking for a studio space, look no further. CinePacks is here. We have one location in South LA that has multiple music video sets, has a small LED wall. We have the entire vintage house in East Hollywood. We have a large LED wall studio in North Hollywood as well, with tons of standing sets. You can check out the studios at cinepackstudios.com or check us out on Instagram at CinePack Studios. Enjoy the rest of the episode.
I mean, actually, go back to the last one, Josh. So, like this scene actually, like in the very original Spider-Man comic, like the original one where it actually, this was inspired by that because as soon as he gets home from, like in all the movies, he starts developing the powers like days later or like throughout like a week or so.
Mm-hmm.
But in the comic book, that actually happens like immediately. Like he gets bit at the lab, and on his way home, he almost gets hit by a car, and then he jumps on the wall, and that's like this like reaction thing that he does. And like, I mean, in the comic, it's like daytime and stuff. So I kind of really want to make it like comic accurate, but then but he actually gets hit by the car in this one. Yeah, so
I like that. I
Yeah.
did not know that.
That's really cool.
Did anyone catch up?
I don't think so.
No,
I don't
no
think
one
so. There's
caught
a lot
that?
of like little Easter eggs and kind of different things that I kind of took inspiration from different comics, but some people notice it. Some people notice certain things, but
You guys also
Okay.
really nailed the sound design as well. I know we can't hear it now, but like I remember thinking back of like, when you go to that shot on his hand, you hear just like the
yeah.
you hear like just some just weird like things, so that really helps like just sell the effect that like, 'cause there's not much that you see happening on his hand inside of the effect shot, but you like just hear it and you're like, oh, this is not good.
Yeah,
It's
shout
really
out.
cool.
Our editor did all the sound design. So yeah, John Luigi, he's super talented.
Did a great job.
Yeah.
So this one went pretty viral, right?
I think this is everybody's favorite shot in the thing. This
Yeah.
sideways spinning thing.
So cool.
I love watching the reaction videos on YouTube, and everybody's always like, this always gives the biggest
Yes.
reaction. They're like, what the fuck?
It's
like,
such a yeah.
I feel like I feel like that ending shot is so good because it just kind of like kills the real or like kills the like you
Yeah.
know what I mean, the illusion, but it's so funny.
It was, oh man, just so like, this was some of the most fun I've had. It was really, yeah. I mean, you can see me like trying to reverse engineer. I'm like, okay, how the hell am I gonna sell this and make it look real? And I kept wanting to go like farther and farther with it. With like, okay, I only have one arm, and I had like I was almost doing like a handstand. Like, yeah, but yeah, it was really, really, really cool. I mean, and like the set design too, like just perfect. Like, so well done to help sell the effect. With all the things on the ground, and with I don't know if you can see this towel and stuff in the frame, but so many little things to help sell the effect.
The art team like really, because we're so behind at this point.
Yeah,
they put this together so fast. And they stapled the towel stapled onto the wall. The hoodie stapled on the wall. All the curtains are stapled.
That's crazy. I love how like nasty the wound looks compared to like other like what's it called, like other what is it, like just like other Spider-Man movies, like it's just like already like festering and just looking so nasty.
Did such a great job with the makeup.
And the there's like a ton of reaction videos where people during this part they think that you're about to rip your arm off, which I never really like thought about that, but I love there's so many people like that's just a thought that goes through their head.
We get the next clip.
Oh man. Okay, Matt, after doing this scene, like so much respect for all of the Spider-Men in the past. I mean, I know they'd probably do it on cables and whatnot. But like trying to go up that wall, and like I was trying to like stay on my fingertips too, but man, it was like when you have your entire body weight and you have to like, I was trying to stay like as low as I could, and I was like, okay, how do I look like I'm rock climbing, right? Without looking like I'm, I have to like look like I'm pushing my weight up and like catching myself without looking like I'm falling. It was a really, I had to rehearse it a lot.
Yeah.
And it was a tough one. I think I cut my hand on the pipe for our last shot.
Yeah, I felt so bad. I was like, oh no.
Oh no, I was fine. I mean yeah, that was so much fun though. It was really, really, really fun to get.
So if you were to like have you written a sequel to this, or like a follow up, like as like what his monster would do, or?
I have a lot of ideas.
I mean, you guys got to watch the spider. So
I have a lot of ideas, but I haven't actually written it. But I have like all the beats in my head of what a potential sequel would be. But it wouldn't just be a sequel. It would kind of flash back to before this and then after it.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe we
can't get a little nothing. All right.
I mean, definitely. I've been definitely inspired by a lot of the comments because a lot of people are like, "Oh, Green Goblin should be in this, but maybe he should be a good guy trying to save." I don't know. I thought there's some interesting ideas that would be fun to play with.
I feel like it's cool too because I feel like the multiverse opened up like so many like ideas of that.
Yeah.
Like whereas like you go to these other universes and then there's like different versions. So I feel like that.
I mean, Sony could totally take this and make it canon.
Yeah.
So
you good?
Oh yes.
Oh man.
So how was being in the chair? I mean, you weren't even in the chair for that long, right? It's like it was a couple hours. Maybe two hours.
Yeah. I think it was about that time. Well, I think because I remember it was like I think we had done the. I'm trying to remember what you guys were doing while I was. We're
shooting the bedroom scene. Where Uncle Ben comes in.
Yes. Yeah. So it was like, oh man, just seeing the stuff that Jay, I believe his name is for makeup, right?
Jay, yeah.
Yeah. What he had done for the head that he brought in, that was just like the big like, mask thing that I have on there. It was just like so crazy. All the eyeballs like and everything. It was just so cool.
Must have been sweaty in there though, right?
Oh man, yeah. I mean, the suit was like the head was one thing, and then the suit is like it was a whole other ordeal because very sweaty. I mean, my arms like, oh man, like I just had to have baby powder all over my arms because it like with the sweat in the in the arms, like you just can't get your arm out. So it was a lot, but it was so cool, man. And like it at first, like when I had it all on, like it looked pretty cool and like looked solid. And then they started adding the blood.
Oh yeah, the blood.
And then I was like, okay, now this looks really sick, and started like tearing up all the clothing and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this looks so sick. So yeah, that was.
And your inspiration was like The Fly for this as well, right? A little bit of that, like Jeff Goldblum, just like his body decomposing
yeah, for sure. I think there's definitely a lot of Fly inspirations, but even with the prosthetics, actually, I don't know if you've seen Troma's Toxic Avenger. Have you seen that?
Oh no, I haven't.
It's like this guy. It's like this nerdy kid who falls into this vat of, I think a vat of acid or some like nuclear waste or something, and he becomes this like grotesque looking, like superhero kind of, sort of, but not really. But he's like super deformed, and that's the whole thing. So there's definitely a lot of inspiration from that for like the look of it and the prosthetics and stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah, and like the strands of hair coming out.
Yeah,
too.
just like
So gross.
Make
So
it look
nasty.
as gross as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what was crazy, I feel like, was like this. I feel like really blew up on TikTok. Like your TikTok was going crazy, and like people were taking it and just like, I feel like they were also like revealing them, like just spoiling it as well. But like at the same time, I think it worked. Like it became like a whole trend. It was
I don't know if you saw the trend. They were using a Walking Dead sound, or was it I think it was a sound from a Walking Dead episode.
Yeah.
And then they put this visual to it, and then
Yeah.
it ended up becoming this trend that just like started blowing up on my TikTok. I was like, what the hell?
Awesome. Oh man, yeah. I remember the mouthpiece too. I was so frustrated because I couldn't get it to work. I couldn't like position my mouth in a way to like get it to open and close as like as I was wanting to, because it was such a cool piece that that you guys had put together.
Yeah, the
But
pincer thing. I don't think
it was so sick.
I don't remember I don't think we had it. I mean, that was always an idea to do, but it was kind of so rushed, and it was like this 3D printed thing that was barely put together on
Yeah.
hinges.
Yeah, it worked. I couldn't. I was frustrated. I was like, I wanted to just like open and close.
Yeah,
and
that would
everything.
have been cool, but
Yeah,
I
couldn't get it to work.
Yeah, if we had more time, we could have maybe tried to perfect that mechanism. But yeah, it's always a time and money, thing. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, looking at this kind of stuff, like, does it? I mean, you do so many kind of monster stuff. Like, is there anything that kind of scares you in general? Like, kind of, not really.
No, I mean it's it's all like kind of like what, oh oh, that's awesome.
we got the mask right
So
here.
great.
So did you wear that mask, or
No,
that
Josh,
one wasn't
Josh
done
wore
yet?
it.
Yeah.
It wasn't finished because we were actually working on that mask,
Josh.
and we wanted to do a bonus scene with it, but it just it took a lot of time to.
We ended
for
up
Josh to do.
the ending scene is there's like a CGI like bonus clip, right?
Yeah, so this
Is that
this
Mary
over here.
Jane, or is that who's that supposed to be?
You know, it's funny because it was inspired by the Mary Jane scene, and I had a version of this where the monster came down from like above, so it was revealed upside down, but it was so kind of disorienting, like what was going on, because this thing's kind of like abstract and kind of gross looking anyways. Like, it didn't really work because it was hard to read what was actually happening, so I ended up just flipping it. But no, we had a Mary Jane casted in the classroom scene. So this isn't technically Mary Jane, but I don't know, people think it is, and it still kind of works.
So for the whole rest of the creature's body, is that all comped, or did you guys have another suit for that? What did you do?
So yeah, that's Josh in the mask
Yeah.
and the body the suit.
Yeah.
And then Josh is also wearing the arms. But then the background pincer is Josh made in CG, and then we added those in. So this is like him on green screen.
Yep. Nice.
And then the rest of this is full CG.
Looks pretty
And
good. I like
we-
how shiny and
We weren't
juicy it
planning on
looks.
doing it, but then
Yeah.
Josh was like, "Oh, like this here. What do you think about this?" And I'm like, "What the fuck? This looks realistic as hell."
Yeah.
And then as soon as I posted it, I feel like I don't remember. I sent it to a couple people. They're like, "Oh wait, which part's practical? Which one's CG?" Like they couldn't tell what was going on.
Yeah, I thought you told
That's
me.
why I asked the question, because my first thought when I saw it, because I didn't actually see this until the premiere.
yeah.
I remember I was sitting next to Josh, and he was like, "Have you seen this yet?" I'm like, "No, I haven't." He's like, "Oh, dude, wait till the end. It's
Yeah.
really
So sick.
Yeah. But I just assumed that it was all CG because I was like, there's no way that they do this practically.
Yeah.
But you guys did, and it looks amazing.
Yeah, we did a little mix of both.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, whoa. Okay, yeah, I haven't seen
Oh, there's a
this.
sideways. Oh yeah, so this was like the bonus day where we shot like months.
you, Josh?
After. Yeah, it's
Sick.
Josh. on
That's
Greens.
awesome. Oh man.
Yeah, that mask took like 6 months to make.
I bet. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so the pincers were actually like made from like like one of those gloves that like finger extension glove things. So we kind of took the mechanism from one of those and then just implemented.
And you're
it
using the
with
wild
this.
wall right there to get some of the
lighting.
some of the
Right.
color.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see that. That's really
Yeah.
cool.
which actually helped a lot. I
Yeah.
think.
So just a spark of that blue.
No,
in
I feel
there.
like that's why it looks so good, and it's like hard to tell if it's
Yeah.
like CG or. I mean, first I thought you told me it was all CG, but then like Josh just did like the background. Well, I guess yeah.
Wait, what do you mean?
I don't know. For a minute, you told me the whole monster was full CG.
No, there's Josh in the thing.
Yeah, I know. But you told me that once.
I mean, the last 2 shots, it's full CG.
Okay, see, that's
Yeah, but there's like the first shot when the monster shows up, it's him
Yeah,
with
yeah.
a couple CG arms behind him. The second shot is mostly CG with that mask actually comped on,
Oh, okay, yeah.
and then the rest of it. So we went from like practical with some CG to like mostly CG with some practical, and then all full CG for the last couple.
Did you guys get the same lenses back? Oh man, I haven't seen this either. This is so sick.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's seen this actually.
Oh wow.
This is just phone footage that we
Yeah.
had. I think we used
Just
this-
waterboarding Josh.
Yeah, right. I'm having tons of fun just
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
soaking
I
them.
feel like you could still see the blood stains on that.
Yeah,
thing
that's
For
from there.
sure. Yeah. Oh man.
You know, Josh is loving it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's getting so wet underneath his like.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
God.
It's like dripping down his
Yeah,
neck into
yeah.
his chest.
So sick.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Fire.
Oh,
Sick.
that's-
I think we had another clip that you sent us that we were going to check out, right?
Yeah. So
Oh,
that's
yeah.
Story related, yeah.
Yeah.
let's talk about that.
Yes. So I for the last few years I've been a part of this project that it's called Neon Divide, and it's basically think like D&D but VR, right?
Mm.
And so it's we have 4 different maps. We have like 30 to 40 players per map. And it's like a role play set in this futuristic cyberpunk dystopia. And this is an animation that I just made for like my intros on my stream to like, before getting into it. I use a mix of Unreal Engine and Unity because the characters, it's, the model is made in Unity and everything. And yeah, it's like my very rough animation. It's my first time doing any sort of animation, but it syncs really well with the music too. I tried to make it as close to like a, TV style, like, intros as I could. But yeah, it's pretty sick. We're going into like our 4th season. And so I help run the whole thing. I'm also one of the writers for one of the maps. So one of the GMs that we have like 3 DMs in D&D.
Sure.
We call them GMs per map. And we have a bunch of extras as well to help like fill up the world and play all sorts of different characters and yeah, it's a blast. We're doing I'm doing all of the like Foley, all the audio production, and getting like music and whatnot, and doing map development as well, like actually building the city for it, helping out with map development. And helping turn it into a nonprofit, actually. So we're trying to branch off and do more than just like the role play here, even though it's huge. Like we have like 150 something players and then like 30 something people on staff, all volunteers.
Whoa, what the? That's a lot.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
pretty big.
it's insane.
But how does it? So you said it's kind of like D&D where. Is there a storyline that's already pre-written?
So we write this. So we have because we have a team of about like 10 to 15 GMs. They all help write the stories for their individual maps, and then they collaborate with other GMs to like write inter-map stories for us to have all sorts of like different like side characters and villains and help create like a big cool like overarching story. So We have like different gangs that are, threatening people that own shops and stuff. And we have people that, so the way it's broken up is we have like a corporate map. So it's like all like corporate players that are a part of the 7 mega corporations that kind of run everything. And so it's all like meetings and like backstabbing deals and stuff. And at the same time, like they're getting, pressured by their bosses to do, certain things that are likely morally gray, and have to be like antagonists to some people, whether they, want to or not. And and then we have it's called Union Heights, is the name of that map. And we have the Row, which is like the worst of the worst part of the city, and it's like the slums. There's like a couple of bars and like grungy underground places, but it's where where we have a hub for one of the fixers, which are the people that like set up heists against these mega corporations. So they get runners together to like, we have a mission map too. And it's like modular and like we can do all sorts of stuff with it. But yeah, they go in and like do a heist against a corporation to like steal something, or whether it's like a bunch of medicine for like the hospital down in the Undercity, which is our third map, which is like it's where like all the magic people have kind of like scurried down to like hide underground under the city because the magic corporation is like, evil and whatnot. But it's a whole city underground that's like all the different like districts that are all magic related. And then we have like the Wasteland, which is like a Mad Max, like out in the desert type thing. Outside the city walls, there's like a town made of scraps, a scrap town that people like convene in. And then you can go outside the walls of Scrap Town to actually like, go and like salvage some things from like crashed ships or something. But out in the dunes, you got like monsters out there. So we have like sandworms, and we have like these like huge crabs, and we have all people playing these creatures. So
and this is all in VR, correct?
All in VR, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And what we can do is like for the sandworms in particular, they're like a hand puppet. So you're scaled up like really big, and so you see the character like running around, and you like dive the sandworm underground. And we have like particle effects that like spit out the sand above, and we have rumble sounds and everything. They come up and like scream and like chase the characters as they're going around. It's a blast.
But so if I sign up, I can choose
sign me up to be a sandworm.
Yeah, can I?
Yeah,
I can just choose to be a sandworm, and I can just fuck people up all day. Wait, I don't. So there's a storyline that's already predetermined, but all these but it's like a role playing game. So you can you change the storylines slightly if
it's
you
entirely so we set it up, it's very similar to D&D. You set it up, you have like a storyline that you have like kind of planned and set out, and then the characters will kind of take that and go in whatever direction they want to go with it, and we just kind of adapt and change things according to that, and just kind of see where the players want to take the storylines.
Is there specific times this happens? You have to like obviously
So we do it. We're in our off season right now, but when we're in our on season, we do about like 20 something episodes per season. We do it like every Friday for 4 hours from I think it's like 6 to 10 PST, and so it's pretty fun. But we're in our off season right now. We're developing season 4, and we've completely redid all of the system, like our systems and leveling progression system, to like make it a lot better. And it's been like 2 years that we've been like working on the new season. It's crazy.
So 150 people sign up and they're playing at the same time.
Yeah.
How do you keep track of the storyline if there's so much?
That's why we have
going
like 10
on.
to 15 GMs. So but each of us, we take our players on the map and we like learn all their character sheets. We learn because each character, they have their own backstory. They have their own like story that they want to tell with their character. They have their own like, dark past or like whatever else that may show up in some way, shape, or form. So it's our job to kind of like try to tie in their backstory into the story that's happening actively, and to keep them hooked in and like make it exciting for them, make them want to keep being a part of it.
I think that's pretty sick. I feel like it's a cool, like I feel like it's definitely something like where it's a really tailored experience, and it's something that you can't get just playing like regular games. Like I feel like it's I don't know. I feel like that's pretty.
It's really cool.
Unique.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, it's I think I don't know if you guys played like Baldur's Gate or like any of those like role playing games where it's like completely open ended, where you can go and do literally whatever.
Yeah.
And the game has thought of every scenario. You know what I mean? That's kind of how we have to do it, but we just have to come up with it on the spot. You know, we like lay out a bunch of different scenarios of like potential outcomes that like how things will just branching storylines basically, and just kind of see where the players take it, but. Yeah, it's really cool. Neon Divide. We have a whole website, and it's really cool for the viewers too, because a lot of our players stream on Twitch. So what we do is we have it hooked up to all the maps, where you can go into the website and you can see like a 2D version of the map live, and you see everyone's token on the map as like a little image of their character as they move around on the map, like happening live. And so what you can do is like if you're watching someone's stream of like them talking to the character and you missed the last episode and like you don't know who the hell they're talking to, you can go to the website and then like see the map and see the person's token next to them and like click on it, pulls up their whole wiki thing like whole breakdown of their character, their live stream, and their like a bunch of like clips and everything, so you can see instantly, okay, this guy's a part of this corporation. He's lying to the person he's talking to right now. Like this is about to get nuts. So it can get really.
Wait, who
crazy.
writes these descriptions? Like,
so it's sometimes the players will go in and put in their own stuff. But sometimes the viewers on Twitch will go in and like put it in there and like it's a wiki, so it's editable.
Okay.
But we keep track of like and make sure that it's
accurate.
all accurate and makes sense and like is within our lore and everything. So yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
That's nuts.
Is there plans on like expanding this or like doing like I don't know, taking this further, and what's kind of like your plans with it?
Yeah, well, so part of making it into a nonprofit is to try to like just grow virtual reality role play even more, because like it's so there are a few other things out there that are like it. You know, it's like it is some of the most like immersive experiences in entertainment that I've been a part of, and it's one of the things we're trying to do is like get more people involved in it. So we have a bunch of ideas nonprofit wise, like going to schools and getting VR headsets like to kids and get them in a thing with in one of our worlds, and like get them just like in improv and in like interacting with each other, because it's a really cool way for people that are maybe physically disabled, that like can't move around all that much, to move around in a virtual world and to like exist in a space where they don't have whatever physical limitation on them, or even socially, like having some sort of character to like be behind can really help a lot of people socially be like more outgoing and whatnot, and really help them. So there's a lot of different ways and benefits that we found with it that we want to try to like bring more more people a part of it. And there's obviously like we're gonna expand, and we have other role play ideas and like other settings entirely apart from Neon Divide that that'll come way down the line. And we want to try to like, there's not any other VR RP community that has like a any sort of like nonprofit setup. So we want to try to like bring in a lot under our umbrella and feed like development resources and whatnot, and like production resources. So because we're basically producers on it, so it's like lending just like management to it to help out like that kind of thing. So that's a lot of long-term goals with it, but
nice.
We're a lot is just riding on just season 4 being successful. So, but we're gonna launch in a few months from now. It'll be probably early next year that we that we launch the season.
Yeah,
so,
send me a
really
link. I'm gonna
for sure
sign up.
Put a link to the
Yeah.
website. Yeah,
If I join in on season, if I join in on season 4, do I need some type of recap to know what's going on?
So what what we do for like new people coming in, we have them come in as like like sandworms and like so that way it's like you're helping out the GMs help tell the story. So like playing like the villain, or playing like
cool.
some of like the cool side characters that help fill up the world. So new people coming in, we usually ease them in with like some of those characters, so they can like really learn the world and learn the characters and like learn the RP, and then they can like submit a character and like be their own person.
Oh, cool.
And like
wow.
so that's pretty cool.
Sick.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Sick.
I think we're coming to the end. Is there anything new or anything exciting you want any of our viewers to look out for?
Yeah, I mean, Neon Divide's a big thing that I've
Yeah.
been, like hacking away at for a long time. But yeah, I mean, I've got a bunch of independent movies that I've been doing over the last like year and a half or so that I'm really stoked about. I got one coming out in December called. Oh, we got a train going. One coming out in December called Breakup Season. It's not a rom-com, but that's the easiest way to like explain it. But it's about this guy who brings his girlfriend back to his hometown in Oregon for the holidays. First night that they're there, they break up. They find out the next morning that like all the roads out are, closed and shut, and she's gonna be stuck there for the next week, and all of the chaos and awkwardness that you would imagine that would go with that situation ensues. Yeah, so it'll be up on for rent on like Amazon and all the platforms in December. So
Sick.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for being on this, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's always fun to come back here and like, always get all the flashbacks to just those 2 days, man. It was just like such an awesome time. So thanks for having me back.
Yeah.
Thanks. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thanks guys.